Good evening. Welcome to our July 13th council meeting. We do have a full council, and we'll start out with the pledge. Councilman Arnold Lopez will lead us in the pledge. And then please remain standing because Councilwoman Alma Flores will do the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before the invocation, I'd like to ask everyone to join us in a moment of silence in memory of the miner who recently lost his life in an accident at the Morenci mine. Please keep his family, coworkers, and all those affected in our thoughts. Please bow your heads for a moment of silence. Thank you. Good evening. As we begin tonight's meeting, let us take a moment to reflect on the responsibility entrusted to us as public servants. May we work together with patience, understanding, and a genuine desire to serve our community. With gratitude for this opportunity to serve our community, let us begin tonight's meeting. Amen.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to item number 5. Any citizen comments on agenda items?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to advise you that, as you know, under the open meeting law, when an item is not on the agenda, the public has every right to speak to you during this open call to the public with time limitations. But you are limited in your response. You can respond to criticism. You can direct that an item be placed on the agenda in the future, or you can direct staff to take action. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Bill. Folks, just so you know, our clerk is joining us virtually, and that voice that you heard from the sky is our city attorney. Mayor, I have no request for agenda items.
Any citizen comments on non-agenda items?
Yes, Mayor, I have several comment cards on non-agenda items. What I'll do is just call these up in the order I received them. At least I think they're the order I received them, so if they're out of order, I apologize. When you come up, you will have 3 minutes to speak. You'll see a timer on the board. And first up, I'd like to call Mr. David McCormick.
My name is Dave. I'm a Safford resident. As far as I know, this council and our local law enforcement are honorable people, and it's not my purpose today to question that. But nevertheless, you have made a big mistake, and it's time to correct it. This council has forced everyone in this city to live under a mass surveillance network. You didn't consult or even notify the public. I keep hearing that you haven't got any negative feedback. Well, that's because hardly anybody knows about it. Speaking of correcting mistakes, as of this afternoon, there are 86 cities in this country that have rejected or canceled flock contracts, not just because of public backlash, although they got plenty of that. Over at least half of these cities have told the press that Flock lied to them or shared the data in ways they did not agree to. 3 days ago, Los Angeles, California, canceled their contract with Flock. Am I to understand that Safford values privacy and civil liberties less than Los Angeles? In Oshkosh, Wisconsin, the city council found out the day after their meeting that they had been lied to. They didn't wait for their next city council meeting. They convened again right then and there, and they revoked their Flock contract that they had agreed to the previous day. That's what I expect you to do. Flock representatives have been lying the same to Safford PD. They say it's their data, but it's Flock devices, it goes to Flock servers, and it goes into Flock AI. Safford PD honestly has zero control over what happens to our data. Privacy is not about having something to hide. Privacy is basic human dignity. if I'm suspected of a serious crime, it shouldn't be any problem for Captain Clough to go to the judge and get a warrant. Outside of that, nobody is entitled to these kind of details about my life that you get from these devices, 32 of them. I never wanted to be an activist for any reason, but I'm about to be. Since the last 3 days since I've learned about this, I've been canvassing, I've been talking to people, doing frankly what you all should have done before you voted us into this prison. I've been finding out what people think about this. And most of them didn't know about it, or they didn't know what it actually did. We know which of you voted for this, and we know that all of your opponents this next week are against it and want it removed. These devices are going to be taken down. You'll cancel your contract with Flock, and you'll have your city workers put bags over these devices. If you don't do it before the election next week, the people we replace you with will do it. You have 8 days.
Thank you, Mayor. Next up, we have Trinity Bejarano.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Trinity Bejarano. I am a Safford business owner at 614 South Fifth Avenue and a registered nurse with more than 20 years of experience. Thank you for this opportunity to speak tonight in support of the use of Flock cameras in Safford. As a registered nurse, including many years as a flight nurse, I have seen firsthand and have witnessed how crime, violence, and emergencies and how they can change people's lives. In healthcare, we rely on evidence to make these decisions. I believe you should do the same when discussing the Flock cameras when it's addressing public safety. Flock cameras are not surveillance cameras that track people. They are automated license plate readers designed to identify vehicles associated with crimes, stolen vehicles, missing persons, and Amber Alerts. The purpose is to provide law enforcement with an investigative lead, not to monitor law-abiding citizens. And the evidence shows that they work. A few days ago, a 3-month-old infant had been abducted in Indiana and was safely recovered due to the Flock camera usage. 6 children in the last 3 months have also been found in the state of Colorado that were also abducted using the Flock cameras. These are not hypothetical situations. These are real children who were returned to their families because officers had another tool to use to locate the suspect. Across the country, more than 5,000 communities use Flock camera technology. According to law enforcement survey, agencies report that technology has assisted in more than 1 million criminal investigations and have helped locate over 10,000 missing persons. The National Center for Missing Children, National Exploited and Missing Children, have partnered with Flock because rapid identification of suspect vehicles can significantly improve the chance of safety and recovering of these children. I also want to address concerns about privacy. I have personally spoken with our police chief and our police captain. They have explained the safeguards that our department has in place, and I was reassured by their commitment to responsible use of technology. They explained that officers cannot simply access information out there on these cameras. Access requires legitimate law enforcement purpose consistent with department policy. Every search is logged, documented, and misuse would be in violation of the department policies and could result in disciplinary action, termination, and even loss of post-certification. Equally important, these cameras are strategically placed throughout our community. They are not in places or in neighborhoods that are targeting specific race, ethnicity, or socioeconomic groups. They are located throughout the Safford to monitor vehicle travel on public roadways and to monitor individuals based on who they are. No technology is perfect, and every tool should have oversight. At the end of the day, this is about protecting our families and our children and recovering stolen vehicles and locating the missing children and giving our officers another tool to solve crime while operating under the clear policies and accountability. I respectfully ask the council to commit supporting the flock cameras as part of our community and commitment to public safety. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And sir, I apologize. Rigido, you're next up. Thank you, sir.
My name's Brigido Mondragon, local community, lived here 4 generations, grandparents. Anyways, first off, I'm going to start about Tortilla Flats. That's my neighborhood, okay? Pollock's has 3 Connex boxes, 2 20-foot Connex box and 1 10-inch, 10-foot Connex box behind their property where there was once a vacant house at one time. It looks tackier than heck, okay? I looked at your guys' rules and stuff. They're allowed 120 or 2 10s. So we need to get Pollock's back in compliance. Green's Furniture, they're storing old refrigerators and broken equipment, broken furniture behind their building. And it's also going back to 5th Avenue behind CMI Quick Copy. There's a vacant house right now that's for sale. And then right next to it's an old AC building. To the left of that, that's Green's Furniture building, but it's facing 6th Avenue. There's a bunch of refrigerators. There's no fences up. Seen kids in and out of there. It needs to be cleaned up. I care about our community. Walking around, I'm always walking around town, getting my exercise, getting my calories burning. The streets look bad. There's big tumbleweed in front of by Jerry's, what's it called? Sorry, I can't think right now. The Dollar General. There's a big tumbleweed growing over the whole sidewalk. Somebody in a wheelchair, kids on bikes can't clear the sidewalks. You guys need to clear the roads. I mean, you guys got people out there that do this job for a living. There's a water leak in front of that same, next to Jerry's, Fire Expression, water, over a month. I called it in. I hear back a week later. They're about to get it fixed. I care about our community. Another thing is flock cameras. I'm against them. I know it's an election. It's a big thing up online. Who's voting for them? Who's voting against them? I'm voting for those who's voting against them. They're talking about privacy, that they're protected. In my younger years, I worked 5 years, Graham County. We have a program called Spillman. Spillman, anytime you contact law enforcement, they make a note, they have a card about you. Any law enforcement activity is on that Spillman. I've watched my coworkers, law enforcement, access that information with no safeguards, and they've put all that business out to the community. Okay, so there's no privacy in Spillman. There's not gonna be no privacy in flock cameras. More or less sum it up, 30 seconds. Let's care about our community. Right here down the street behind B&D Air Conditioning, there's tons of AC equipment facing the road. Let's care about our community, get it cleaned up. Appreciate all you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and your concerns have been noted. Next up, David, is it Hakey? All right, sir. Thank you for knowing it's you.
I really don't like to do public speaking, but thank you for the opportunity. I too am opposed to the AI surveillance stuff. I just learned about it recently. I knew nothing about it, and it was alarming to me when I learned about it. Frankly, I can't understand why it isn't alarming to everybody. I do understand the value that it could help with the police, as was spoken about. And I think they have other tools, and we have an awful lot of them around here. I think there's other ways they can accomplish this work rather than having us all under surveillance, especially with this ICE business we hear about all the time and see about it. I don't know that they've worked here, but they might be here. That's the last thing on earth we need, is for them to be surveilling and giving that information to them. If they haven't been here yet, they will be, and we've got people in our community that will be endangered because of it. I'm retired. I've been a pastor, so I've lived in a glass house my whole life. I'm used to everybody knowing what I'm doing and where I'm going and whatever. I'm not ashamed of any place I go, but I really, really don't like research being going on and being monitored. I really think that's more like living in Russia than in the United States of America. And frankly, I'm concerned in general that we're becoming more like Russia than we are the United States of America. This is a tool that really needs to stop. I'm not threatening anybody. I certainly am not in a position to do that. I just am going to plead with you to think about yourselves and all of us. This could be a horrible thing for any of us to get caught up in. And I feel very strongly in separation and personal freedoms. We hear a lot about it from liberals and conservatives, but this is going against my freedom and against yours too. So please, let's be Americans. Let's use the logical resources we have. We're going to see a whole lot of more of AI, and it's going to be more dangerous than this, and we're going to have to live with it, but let's not invite it here for sure. Thank you. I appreciate your letting me talk.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Nicholas Marble.
Good evening, Safford City Council. My name is Nicholas Marble, and I've lived in Safford my entire life. I spent my early adulthood on the other side of the law, and I'll be the first to say Safford City Police are outstanding, firm but fair officers. They shake my hand when they see how good I'm doing now and tell me they're proud of me. I don't have any grudges or gripes with the law enforcement here. It's actually the opposite. But you City Council members have set up the stage to shatter that trust between community and police. Flock cameras were originally marketed as a tool for cities with high rates of violent crimes. Residents of Safford have a 1 in 488 chance of becoming a victim of a violent crime in a year. That's roughly a 0.205% chance. We are not Memphis, Detroit, or Baltimore. We should not normalize permanent mass license plate surveillance in a town that is already comparatively safe. The Founding Fathers rejected general warrants that allowed the government to monitor everyone in hopes of finding wrongdoing. Normally, police investigate someone because they have reasonable suspicion or probable cause. Flock reverses that. Everyone is recorded first, investigations happen later. Then, like all tools, someone eventually misuses it. What if an officer uses it to stalk an ex-wife? Or what if other agencies begin viewing our data without our law enforcement knowing? And before anyone says these concerns are merely hypothetical, they aren't. For time's sake, here's just two. Sedgwick, Kansas, Police Chief Lee Nygaard admitted using flock cameras to search for his ex-girlfriend's vehicle 228 times over several months. He also followed them. What was his punishment? He resigned. And then the most alarming, Ventura County, California, an audit found that flock data from the Ventura County Sheriff's Office had been accessed by out-of-state and federal agencies more than 364,000 times without the Sheriff's Office knowledge or approval because of a configuration issue. We have some really great officers here and with the county, but the fact is none of us have a crystal ball and won't know until it's too late. At minimum, flock raises serious Fourth Amendment concerns. I referenced two separate Supreme Court rulings of similarity. United States v. Jones held that long-term GPS tracking implicated the Fourth Amendment. Carpenter v. United States held that obtaining historical cell site location records generally requires a warrant because prolonged location data reveals the privacies of life. The question isn't whether this technology can solve crimes. It clearly can. The question is whether collecting and storing the movements of every innocent citizen is consistent with the freedoms guaranteed by the Fourth Amendment. Public safety and constitutional liberty are not enemies. We need both. In Safford, Arizona, we still enjoy something many Americans have lost: safety, freedom, and trust in our community. My fear is that if we begin normalizing the constant recording and storage of innocent people's movements, we start becoming more like the places we're thankful we don't live in. I don't want Safford to become an example of how freedom slowly disappears. I want it to remain an example of how safety and liberty can still coexist. City Council should be aware. When I encouraged people to show up tonight, I got over 1,000 comments saying to shoot flock cameras, paint them, or point a laser at them. I refuse. Instead, I tell you guys, show us that our system of government still works. And in conclusion, I'll leave you all with this thought. Our freedoms are tested the most when we feel safe enough to not need them. And if we only value our rights when we're in danger, we may not realize we've lost them until it's too late. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next is Ren McCormick.
Evening. I'm a resident of Safford, and I'm opposed to flock surveillance in this town. This council used a state grant to pay for 32 surveillance cameras at a cost of $96,000 each year to track the movements, license plates, and faces of everyone in the city. The flock organization is dishonest and is using the personal details of our lives to make billions of dollars. They've been caught lying about the data so many times that nothing they claim can be trusted. It's not possible to know how many times they sell and share it. This is outrageous and unacceptable. Authorities promise us that they will only use flock cameras to make us safer, but I don't feel safe with this much detail being gathered about me, no matter who sees it and no matter what promises they make. This grant should be used for law enforcement in ways that will actually improve public safety, not to harvest the daily activities of the people. I want this council to get the flock out of Safford. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Emma.
Good evening. I am Emma Winicky. I have been a member of the Safford Morenci Thatcher community for about 3 years. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. So when I say I know unsafe, I know unsafe. This community is very safe in comparison. There is no reason for us to have AI trackers that not only track our cars, our license plates, all of the dings and scratches on our cars. Who is in them? What's their facial expression? Are they tired? It's not just simply AI looking at our license plates, it's looking at your daily routines. It's tracking you. If you're leaving 2 minutes later than normal from your house, it flags it in their system. It throws a flag in their system to say, hey, this is odd. If you take a different route to your work for whatever reason, it throws that in the system. If you stop at Walmart instead of Circle K, or if you stop at a different store, it flags it. This system also can use parking lot cameras that aren't on the flock system that to help deter, in a sense, is what they say. But quite frankly, I don't believe anything they say anymore. There have been multiple cases, there have been multiple cases that have been proven that they have been lying about their policies. There was just one in, there was a case that a grandma in Tennessee committed a crime in Fargo, North Dakota is what they claimed. This woman had never been to North Dakota in her life, and she sat in jail for months because AI said, oh yeah, this is the person that did it because of her car model and the scratch on it. Mind you, it was a scratch on the front part and it was yellow from a parking meter, the parking barriers. Do you know how common those are? And this isn't the only one. There's been one in Colorado last week. There were 3 in California over the last 2 months, and there was another one in Florida and Georgia. These are not exclusive things that are happening. AI, although it is still new, it needs to be refined before we can use it in these things. I am not against saying like, oh, don't track everything. I'm simply saying that the flock system is not reliable enough for us to be using it. We can still have cameras up, but also the amount that the city is spending on these cameras is insane. We could have gotten our own system. And yes, Flock says, oh, we don't access your system, you control who's accessing them, but that's been proven untrue by multiple counties. So why are we allowing people from across the country to be looking into our cities? What happens if someone's running from a domestic abuse partner that happens to be a cop across the country? What are they expected to do? Try and avoid all of these cameras? They're all over. There's other cases of cops stalking ex-girlfriends. There's cases of a cop stalking, not even someone that they were romantically involved with, someone that they wanted to be romantically involved with. Across 3 states, this guy tracked her. That's scary. I just ask that you look into these things before you make your decision and make it a completely informed decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Ashley Clement.
Hello, I don't want to take the 3 minutes when so many have shared amazing information. I don't know a whole lot. I just know that I don't know a whole lot, and that makes me uncomfortable. I don't know. I am uncomfortable with the variety of information shared by the people here at this meeting. I'm uncomfortable with not being aware of this decision before it was made. I would appreciate further research and communication within the community before our city decides anything like this again, especially when it comes to AI of any kind. So I am against the decision based on those reasons and would again appreciate further research and communication within this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Austin Clement.
I second what my sister said. The technology is way too fallible and prone to leakage. Like, it's so easy to access the data online, and it's not trustworthy at all. They're clearly lying. I don't want any flock systems out here. I don't need that kind of surveillance. No one needs that kind of surveillance. We aren't criminals. We are people. That's it. I don't really.
Thank you. And the last one I have, Mayor, is Nathaniel, is it Mueller?
Good evening, City Council. I live at 948 East Airport Road. I'm also the owner of local business here. I've been here before about the ID cards and things like that you guys are trying to make everybody get. But nevertheless, we just celebrated 250 years of independence. And this is one of my favorite quotes, actually, by Benjamin Franklin. He says, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." And so here we are. I didn't bring court cases and things like that. It's just kind of common sense. Like, I got 5 kids. You know, I don't put them on social media, and I don't like cameras everywhere watching me do what, I'm just going to the store or paying my bills or what have you. And I just think that if we as a community want to be surveillanced, then we'll let you know. Like, hey, City Council, can you please put some cameras up? Because we don't feel safe, but I think we all feel pretty safe. I think that the situation with these type of things that are happening is it's going to develop into what's called pre-crime, where people are going to start getting arrested for things that they might commit, or the technology might feel that they're going to commit. And pre-crime, I mean, if you've read a book or something, it's scary. And so I think we just need to wake up. We just need to dial it back. Like, 250 years of freedom sounds pretty good. I'd like another 50 at least, another 5, that'd be nice. So I think we should just dial it back, listen to the people, get rid of I almost said a bad word, the flock cameras. Get rid of them, just get rid of them. There's cameras everywhere anyway. Like, Walmart's got cameras, Home Depot's got cameras, Circle K's got cameras. You got your phone tracking you everywhere you go. So yeah, if I want cameras, I'll put them up at my house, and you don't have to pay for it. Or unless you guys want to pay for it, I'll let you pay for it. That's fine. I think we just need to dial it back. I want liberty, and I want safety too. But I think that's what the Second Amendment's for. That's what police officers are for. But I don't like peeping toms. I think peeping tom was a bad thing when I was growing up. Don't be a peeping tom. So whether it's the government or a peeping tom, I don't like it. So that's all I have to say. Hopefully the decision's made and things reverse. With this, put it in reverse, Terry. Come on.
Thank you. And Mayor, your decision, I did receive this moments ago at 1828 or 628, if you'd like to hear this last speaker.
We'll hear the last one, and
All
that's it.
right, Matthew.
Good evening, members of the council, and apologies for my tardiness. My name is Matthew Valderrama Svi, and I work and live in this community. I'm a retired Army veteran with multiple roles in the local public sphere. but today I speak to you as a private but concerned citizen. I am here to speak on the funding for the Flock Safety Systems automatic license plate readers. I want to be clear that I support using technology to keep our communities safe. Tools that can help in true emergencies, Amber Alerts, Silver Alerts, finding stolen vehicles, that's important. However, method of implementation is critically important. My concern is that the city's reliance on a private, for-profit vendor to own and operate the surveillance infrastructure. This model raises fundamental questions about privacy, data ownership, and accountability. Who owns this vast database of where we go every day? Who sets the rules for its use? Flock Safety has proven time and time again that it's not the local municipality, which I'll go into in a moment. We must have a system that requires due process for data access and guarantees robust security, protecting the privacy of every law-abiding citizen. While the Flock Safety Network is utilized by law enforcement nationwide, its current implementation poses serious risks due to technical weaknesses and troubling data management. Studies conducted from 2024 through 2026 have revealed significant flaws, ranging from hardware exploits to exposure of live video feeds that jeopardize the security and privacy of our neighbors. These vulnerabilities are worsened by unregulated data sharing between agencies, which has already triggered federal scrutiny and led to several cities canceling their agreements with Flock. There is a better way. A system that is owned and operated by the city of Safford would be a true public safety asset. This would ensure that the data is in a public trust managed by and for our community with full transparency, security, accountability, and due process. I urge you not to commit more funds to the current private system. Instead, I ask you to direct city staff to conduct a formal study on the feasibility of a municipally owned ALPR system. Let's invest in a solution that provides security while guaranteeing public ownership, strict oversight, and the protection of our civil liberties. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mayor, we had one more come in, the time's 6:31, and another behind me, so it's completely your call.
We said that was the last one,
Okay.
okay? We want to thank everybody. Okay, we'll move on to item number 8. We'll close the regular meeting and we'll convene into an executive session.
Mayor, I move that we convene into executive session.
Second.
A second to convene into executive session. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, we're gonna close the executive session and reconvene to our Board of Adjustment session. Number 11, the Board of Adjustment variance request a public hearing. Number 1, it's a public hearing for the forest right variance request, parcel number 103-07-101.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Eric Bejarano, your city manager, on behalf of Jamie Embeck, our Community and Planning Development Director, cannot join us this evening. I'll try to do this justice. It's a lot of information. You've received the information in your packet, and for the public following at home or in the room, it's online, posted as well. This is a request by Mr. Wright for the Board of Adjustment to hold a public hearing and approve or deny a variance request to Section 17.12.130.B Bravo .1 and 2 for Graham County Parcel 103-07-101. The property is zoned R1-10 and is not currently addressed. This strategic goal impacts growth and development. The background for you: Planning and Development Department is in receipt of a variance application from Mr. Wright. The application is requesting a variance to the paving standards and requests that a private road be used to access 3 parcels. Mr. Wright has worked with staff to discuss the issues pertaining to this lot, and a site visit was conducted. This is the same process that Mr. Wright followed to create the 3 lots to the north of Montana Way. Arizona Department of Transportation has no comment on the proposed variance, and all of the utilities will be in the new easement on the east side of the property. The fire chief has requested that a fire hydrant be installed to serve both the north and south lots. The analysis, and I'll try to summarize this, Mayor and Council, otherwise it might take me a while. Let's see. Lot access requirements. So in summary, legal access to a residential lot or parcel may be established by one of 3 ways. Lot access requirements are as follows, and again summarized: adequate frontage upon a public street, adequate and recorded access to a public street by a private road, the location of which shall be approved through the large-scale development or subdivision platting process, and subject to the following. It talks about the road shall not be less than 30 feet in width, where access to public road for 3 or more residences is to be provided by way of a private road. All standards and requirements for subdivisions as contained in this code shall apply. C talks about a dwelling may be built on a lot which does not front upon a public street as permitted by the zoning administrator, subject to the following. The entire front of the building can or will be able to be viewed from a public street. The building is or will be constructed at least 24 feet from the nearest building on the same or adjoining lot. And 3, the development will not cause undue concentration of population. It does talk about it abuts on a permanent unobstructed easement of access to the lot from a public street. While I go through this, I will say, luckily we have our Public Works Director in the room, so if you have any questions, I will put Mr. Henry on the spot. Moving on, Mayor and Council, Mr. Wright has met on site with city staff, and we agree that this is a viable solution to allow 3 10,000 square foot lots to be created without accessing them off of Highway 191. It reduces the turns onto Montana Way and provides the flexibility to fully develop this unique lot. Properties to the south of this parcel are located in Graham County jurisdiction and have been developed separately. This application addresses the required findings in section 17.88.040.C Charles as follows. Number 1, having to adhere strictly to the letter of this title will cause the applicant to have to pave 30 feet of access that will never connect to other streets. The residential properties south of the subdivision are in unincorporated Graham County and developed as single-family homes. Number 2, the lots were created originally when these properties were intended for commercial use. The zoning was not established for commercial use, and the lot is too large for economical construction of one home. The residents in the adjacent neighborhood have expressed opposition to a commercial or multifamily development on the lot at previous public meetings. Number 3, the granting of the variance is essential to allow 3 10,000-foot lots to be established in this R10 zone without causing costs that make the construction prohibitively expensive. And number 4, the applicant purchased the lot and did not create the subdivision. The recommended action It is the staff's recommendation that the Board of Adjustment grant a variance from zoning ordinance section 17.12.130, finding that it meets the evidence requirements in section 17.88.040 C. Charles, with the requirement that a fire hydrant be installed per the request of the fire chief. Subparagraph 1, having to adhere strictly to the letter of this title will cause difficulties and hardships upon the petitioner which are unnecessary in order to carry out the purposes of this title. Number 2, special circumstances are attached to the property covered by the same application that do not apply to other properties in the same zone. Number 3, because of said special circumstances, property covered by the application is deprived of privileges possessed by other properties in the same zone, and that the granting of the variance is essential to the enjoyment of property possessed by the other properties in the same zone. And finally, number 4, the difficulties and hardships were not created by any act of the appellant subsequent to the effective date of the regulation appealed from. That said, Mayor, I turn the time back over to you and the council.
This is a public hearing. Is there anybody in the public that has any comments or they'd like to bring forward? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Excuse me. And item number 3, right variance request approval or denial. Request by Forest Right for the Board of Adjustment to approve or deny a variance request to 17.12.130 B1 and B2 for Graham County parcel number 103-07-101. For the property is zone R1-10 is not addressed.
I'm scrolling, Mayor. I have nothing additional for the mayor and council.
And this is an action item.
Mayor. Eric, just to clarify, Jamie is suggesting that all of those requirements were met for the variance, correct? All those?
It's my understanding she is saying staff's recommendation of the board is to grant the variance from the zoning, but she was very specific that the fire hydrant be installed per the request of Chief Anderson.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Is that at the city expense for the fire hydrant, or would that be at the builder?
Mayor and council, per the fire chief, the builder.
Anybody else? Okay. Then it's an action item then.
Mayor, I move that we approve the right variance request.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the right variance request. All in favor? Opposed? Then we'll move on to item 12, close Board of Adjustment session and reconvene into a regular session meeting. Item number 13, everybody have a chance to review the minutes for our June 22nd meeting? Any corrections or?
Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes for June 22nd, 2026.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of June 22nd, 2026 council meeting. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. And we'll move to item number 2, request from 1AZ Credit Union for closing our City of Safford deposits and savings account.
Mayor, Council, this is your Finance Director, Troy Bingham. If you remember, on the last meeting we had, we brought forward a banking item where certain staff were set as liaisons for banking. One of the banks has come back out of 10 or so banks that we bank with, and they want more than just that prior resolution. They want a specific resolution trying to do what staff is accomplishing to close this CD and shared savings account. Currently, with the CIP plan the way it is in 2027, we need to start dissolving some of our investments. This investment's 7 months, so it isn't long-term. It recurs every 7 months. And the rates that it's offering are not bad, but they're not, I could do better on the national front. So with those 3 reasons, we wanted to close this account. They're asking that all of mayor and council be present and to vote on the shared certificate number 63296745340 be closed, along with shared savings account of 63296745331. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Troy, I just had a quick question about, are these the only two accounts that we have with 1AZ?
That is
So
correct.
okay. Do you think there will be future plans to still continue to do business with 1AZ?
Unless we have excess funds greater than this, I don't see it in the foreseeable future. We tried out
Okay.
the program with the various local banks. We've dissolved all the other ones at the local banks, given the CIP nature. So if there is excess funds, we could go back. Not saying we wouldn't, but this does close down our account completely there, and we'd have to reinstitute an account.
Okay.
Are we closing the CD early?
No, its time was actually 6/24 is when it rolled. So we have a certain time period after that.
10 days.
10
Are we
days.
taking a penalty?
No,
Since we're
well,
out of
I've
the
already
10
notified
days?
him. When we tried to do this, we notified him that we were doing that, so it did not roll. So yes, we're safe and no penalties will be taken.
They're requesting us to do this, or we're requesting to close it?
We're requesting to close it. They're requesting this specific language. The prior resolution we did was not sufficient for their corporate bylaws, so,
And we're requesting to close it because we need the funds for something?
correct? And then the rates are midline, but I could do better at other places if I wanted a 7-month CD. So we always want to use the best rates we can get, and we want to get as long-term as we can get.
Are you planning to use it on something, or are you planning to reinvest it?
No, it'll be put back in the general checking account and be used to pay yearly bills for the next 12 months.
Because I thought, with what I read, I was led to believe we needed it for some CIP projects.
Which could occur in the next 12 months. We would have payments that would be due, and we would use these funds to pay for it.
'Cause I just thought all the meetings we had on the budget, we were good to go. We didn't need any added funds.
So I'm not adding funds, I'm just uninvesting funds and putting them into the general checking account to be used. It's still the same number of cash.
But because we need it.
Yes, our plans now show that we need to start drawing down with our park underway for $11 million. All that needs to start having cash funding. So I have to stop investing. We'll still have investments because we have restricted reserves. We're just liquidating the ones that are needed for CIP.
And it wants it to read a certain way with all our names on there. If somebody voted no, does that mean it don't work?
I think you just have to be present. They understand that there's still a majority rule.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, it's an action item.
Mayor, I move that we approve the request from 1AZ for closing our City of Safford Certificate of Deposit and Savings Account.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to close our CD and our savings account at 1AZ. All in favor? Opposed?
There's no clerk, the motion carries.
Does B have to be informed how it went?
She's listening, I think.
Mo is.
I caught the vote.
There-
Thank
there
you,
she
Mo.
is. Thank you, B.
Mayor.
Oh, okay,
Thank you.
okay. Then we'll move on to item number 14, contracts, agreements, and bids. Number 1, ESRI Enterprise License Agreement. Sam?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. This is a request for council approval of a 3-year enterprise agreement with Environmental Systems Research Institute, which is ESRI, or ESRI for short. This software licensing is for the city's GIS platform used for mapping, asset management, planning, public works, utilities, emergency services, and other critical operations across multiple departments. The agreement total is $97,485.60 over 3 years, with an annual payment of approximately $30,200 plus tax. This amount has been included in the budget as a recurring operational expense. Council approval is required because the total contract value exceeds the city's purchasing threshold of $60,000. Staff recommends approval of the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. Do you have any questions for me? This is the GIS mapping software that we utilize for the city, and we've been with Esri since 2002. So it's nothing new.
Nothing new, and funding has been budgeted for
Correct.
it already. It's in the budget.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? It's an action item.
Mayor, I move that we approve the ESRI Enterprise License Agreement for 3 years.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ESRI Enterprise License Agreement. All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2, Child Parent Center LLC. It's a Head Start and Land Lease Agreement, the First Amendment. Go ahead, Eric.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a request for Mayor and Council to review a 3-month lease extension for the Child Parent Centers LLC, otherwise known as Head Start, of parcel 10108-092A as in Alpha. The address is 1415 South Central Avenue. Strategic goals include financial management. A little background for you. The City of Safford owns this property, and Head Start program is managed by Child Parent Centers LLC. The original lease dated July 31, 2016 will expire on July 31, 2026, and details regarding the lease renewal are still being determined. Our analysis is city staff is working with Child Parent Centers LLC on the details of the lease and would like additional time to continue the process. The city attorney has prepared a 3-month lease extension agreement for city council approval. It is the recommended action of the staff or of me to request approval of a 3-month extension of the lease with Child Parent Centers Incorporated. Mayor, I turn the time back to you pending any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
This is not the back side that's closing, correct? Because one of them is closing and they're no longer doing the child stuff. So
Mayor,
this is
Council,
the front one?
the first time I heard about a closure was actually 3 hours ago today, so that is new to me. Lance, do you have a comment?
What's it called? La Palomita, something like that?
I heard the same thing about 3 hours ago, but it's not that property. That is the Blake Foundation property that owns that facility. This one's the Head Start one that's on our property next to it.
Okay, thank you. And are we
Thanks.
still shortening contracts? Because I know we were doing the big 10-year ones, and I think we've kind of shortened all of our contracts. Are we looking at doing the same?
Mayor and Council, I'm not aware of intent to shorten the time span on this. We just need to work through some additional details, and we haven't had time to complete that. So we're just asking that the 3-month extension give us that time.
So this is not just a 3-month contract. This is 3 months so that we can finish a full-length contract.
Mayor and Councilmember McGoy, that is correct, yes.
Anybody else?
Mayor, I move that we approve a 3-month extension to the land lease agreement with Child Parent Centers.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the extension for the Head Start land lease agreement. All in favor? Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Then we'll move on to item number 15, ordinances. Ordinance number 026-003. It's Gamard rezone request. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I feel like we could have just had our own meeting. Again, Eric Bejarano on behalf of Jamie Embeck, our Planning and Community Development Director. Staff is requesting a second reading and approval or denial of ordinance 026-003, an ordinance of the City of Safford, Graham County, Arizona, rezoning portions of parcel 103-09-041 and 103-09-042 from the C2 Highway Commercial District to the R1-6 Single Family Residential District. The background on this is the applicant held a neighborhood meeting On May 7, 2026, the Planning and Zoning Commission conducted its public hearing on June 1, 2026, followed by the City Council public hearing on June 22, 2026, and the first reading of the ordinance occurred then. All required public hearings have been completed, and no additional comments have been received from the public or neighboring property owners. Analysis staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission have recommended approval. Mayor, pending any questions, I turn the time back to you.
Any questions? No? Okay. If not, it's an action item.
Mayor, I move that we approve a second reading of ordinance 026-003.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the second reading ordinance 026-003. All in favor? Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
B, will you read it in?
Yes, Mayor. Mayor, this approves ordinance number 026-003, covered rezone, and ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Safford, Graham County, Arizona, effectuating a map amendment rezoning portions of Graham County Assessor's parcels number 103-09-041 and 103-09-042 from City of Safford C2 Highway Commercial District to R1-6 Single Family Residential District.
Thank you, B. And we'll move on to ordinance number 26-004, amending Title 15, that's building and construction of the City of Safford Municipal Code.
Mayor and council, once again, Eric Bejaron on behalf of Jamie Imbeck, our Planning and Community Development Director. The purpose of this one is a request from the mayor and council to hold a first reading of ordinance 26-004, amending Title 15, Buildings and Construction of the City of Safford Municipal Code. This addresses growth and development, public information, and outreach. The background: building codes are updated regularly by the ICC International Code Council and other agencies. The currently adopted codes in the Title 15 Buildings and Construction are outdated and due for an update. Staff have worked with the local jurisdictions to make the updates to the same code cycle so that it is easier for local contractors to build in all jurisdictions without drastic code differences. A public meeting has been held with local contractors to receive comments and input. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a work session on the topic on June 15, 2026. The City Council held a work session on the topic on June 22, 2026. During the hearing on June 22nd, discussion for adoption of the tiny homes appendix was held, and staff will bring back that appendix as a separate item with appropriate zoning regulations. An email was sent to all contractors who have requested a utility location in the City of Safford on June 24, 2026, giving them the updated code and contact information. The analysis is the City of Safford has contracted, and I believe it's Schum's Coda Associates to review our current codes and suggest amendments and updates. By updating the code cycles and working with other local jurisdictions, the city will be aligned with national best practices and valley-wide regulations. The recommendation: staff requests that mayor and council hold a first reading of ordinance 26-004, amending Title 15 Buildings and Construction of the City of Safford Municipal Code. Mayor, I'd gladly defer any questions to our Public Works Director if you have any. Pending that, I'll turn the time back to you.
Anybody have any questions?
Was that the only appendix that they were going to adopt?
Mayor and council, we believe so. I believe the direct quote was, as far as I know, from our Public Works Director.
Anybody else? Okay, it's an action item.
Mayor, I move that we approve the first reading of ordinance 026-004.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 26-004, amending Title 15. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Ready?
Mayor, this approves. Thank you. Mayor, this approves the first reading of ordinance number 026-004, an ordinance of the City of Safford, Graham County, Arizona, amending Title 15 Buildings and Construction of the City of Safford Municipal Code. Thank you.
Thank you. And, okay, we'll go ahead and Item number 16, the budget fiscal year 2027 to 2031 capital improvement plan adoption. Troy?
Hi, Mayor and Council. This is an annual item that we put together. It's more of a conceptual vote. This has nothing to do with the final budget, short of it does show fiscal year 2027 and the carryover in it, but this is more of a conceptual, what are we doing for fiscal year 2028, 29, 30, and 31? This kind of sets the precedence for staff to know what they should be planning for, what we should be saving for, what we should be developing plans for. So this is more of a conceptual, but we want to make sure that we're heading in the right direction that Mayor and Council has set. So we did have a meeting earlier this year and talked about the CIP. There is some changes I want to bring up that we've done since then through various budget meetings. We've talked about the recreation facility and field house were pushed out to 2031 and changed to grant funding from the previous version that was showing debt funding. The municipal court, a conceptual rendering was done for 2027, but the rest of the project was pushed out till 2031. Again, that would be debt funded. The municipal admin building was pushed out to 2031 completely, and that would still be debt funded. We did add additional carryover because now we know what we got done as of 6/30/2026 for fiscal year 26. So there is additional carryover that we've added in that column. It would be for cemetery expansion. I believe we needed to carry over some of the funds. We didn't get it all spent in 2026. Additionally, the commercial air hangar, number 1, we didn't get as much done as we wanted to, so that number did increase to $983,000 for carryover. On the golf course, we moved the sprinkler system to the wastewater. You'll see it down there now. And then we added carryover from the entry updates for $10,000 and the golf course driving range for $42,000. That, again, this will all be in the final budget if it's in carryover or 27. Fire, we did approve to keep the architectural renderings in fiscal year 2027 for $1.1 million. And the rest of it is still debt funded in 2028. So that is the current state of the fire station, is we're at least getting architectural renderings. Believe the fire district has agreed to their half on that. The other thing I wanted to point out, let's move on to the next page, is in streets. We made a lot of decisions during that CIP. If you remember, we talked about new projects that were not included previously. One of the things that we did before that is pavement preservation. We noticed that we had spent the funds in 2026 that were meant for 2027's project. So we had to increase the 2027 amount to $800,000. It was $500,000. And then we added 2 projects like I was talking about earlier. The CDBG, we finally finalized that. So I believe that was an added project of $290,900 to build sidewalks in low-income areas. And then the First Street and 14th Avenue is a brand new project from the guidance that you guys gave us. All we're doing is $200,000 in 2027, I believe, for design. And then additional, I think, right-of-way acquisition in 2028. And then full construction, all based on debt in 2031. So our job for 2027 is just to figure out what it conceptually can look like for First Avenue and 14th Avenue intersection. And then moving on, there's no changes to landfill, no changes to water. We did, as I said, we added the wastewater. The irrigation system is now a wastewater project. So that project has moved down and renumbered as a WW rather than a GC. So that was a conceptual change we needed to make. Again, that one has $100,000 of design in 2027. That would be paid for, we would pay for that out of the wastewater funds. And then $5.1 million would be possible debt funding from the Water Infrastructure Financing Authority. Again, we don't have any finalized plans on that, but that would be our intent, but that would not be until fiscal year 2028. So the additional changes, no changes to gas whatsoever. We did change electric. We met with management there and talked about scaling back carryover and 2027 funds based on the reality of the size of his staff and the amount of time it would take to get some of these projects done. So we did reduce pole replacement, engineer pole upgrade, transformer change out, and distribution gang switch. We just reduced the amount of carryover for this year because realistically, he can only get to so much as a staff that he has. So with that, the overall CIP is now almost $186 million over the next 5 years. It was 183, I think we started with. So we have added to it, but as far as 2027, the numbers stay consistently in about $50 million is what we plan to do for fiscal year 2027 if all plans go as planned. So with that, I stand for any questions and look forward to just no resolution to this. It doesn't affect future councils. This is just this council today setting precedents for what we'll do for the next, or what we should be doing for the next 5 years.
Anything? Okay, not,
I just have one request, sorry, Mayor. For the next time, if you could just point out all of those that you kind of went over that were changes so that we can have time to review that when we're reviewing the packet.
Sorry, I left the highlights on there, but I took it off for the packet. So I do have the one and only copy.
Great,
I will do
thank
that
you.
next time.
Thank you.
What is it, blue? We make them blue or red or whatever, we get away from that?
I had it, I felt like we were just approving the CIP. I was gonna point out the items verbally, but I could see that the public would like to know exactly what changed. But these are, if you look at our budget conversations, these are all conversations we've been having for the last 2.5 months.
and we'll move on to item number 2, amendment to the tentative budget.
Mayor,
Oh, you
we need
actually
a
gotta,
motion on
you gotta
this.
give a roll call, a vote, some sort of vote.
We need a motion and a second.
Mayor, I move that we approve the capital improvement plan adoption for fiscal year 2027 to 2031.
Second.
Okay, we're motion and a second to approve the fiscal year 2027 to 2031 capital improvement plan adoption. All in favor? Opposed?
Did you get that vote?
Yes, I did, Troy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll go on to item number 2, amend the tentative budget vehicle replacements.
All right, this is a request from a council member. Last time we presented this, we didn't give enough information or we gave too much information. So I went back and my 2.5 years of knowledge here at the city of Safford and tried to define what a ghost vehicle was. And there's lots of different variations of it, but I think to the best of my understanding and knowledge would be where management made a decision to add a vehicle for future replacement, and sometimes it was in the budget, or sometimes a new position was created. So the position was created, but how they got around wasn't really clarified. So usually what would happen is a vehicle would be set for auction as part of the plan, but management would decide that, hey, there might be a need for the use of a vehicle, so we would allow staff to start using that vehicle, and that vehicle would thus become a permanent use based on their need. And then as I redid the vehicle replacement plan this year, all of these received some sort of replacement cost. So they became more of a permanent, not just an auction vehicle. They turned more into a legitimate use for the company and for the city, sorry. And so I went through one by one. I can go through and explain each one, but here's everything that I believe management has made a decision on. Some of these items are in this year's budget, meaning that we were trying to put an additional vehicle in fire. I believe we were doing an additional vehicle in water or sewer. So we were trying to call some of this out, but we weren't consistent in that. So in an effort to try to show you, here's everything, and I can explain each individual case if there's an issue, but to the best of my knowledge as your finance director for the last 2.5 years, here's ones that we made decisions on that were not officially in the budget, and now given this year's replacement cycle and us trying to better fund the replacement cycle so we're not short in future years, I tried to put a dollar amount to these. So it goes from being an auction use vehicle to a more permanent needed vehicle. So with that, I guess I will stand. Oh, I actually did put the bullet points. Sorry. I tried to define what a ghost vehicle was. It's been a while since I wrote this one. So with that, I stand for any questions.
Okay, so this is much better. This is what I was anticipating to see. So I just want to point out that this is $425,000 that we added to the budget just for these, and that is just the current year's edition. Is that correct?
Yes, this would be additional funds for 2027 to future replace these things.
Okay. So I didn't have a chance to really go into the detail with all the departments, but I was able to speak with Chief Avila, and I spoke to him about his 3 vehicles, which is, I think it was about $50-some thousand for all of theirs.
18,448.11 times 3.
So yeah, it was 55,000 for his department. And I did ask the question to him if his intent was to replace these swing vehicles with brand new vehicles. And he said no, that these vehicles would be replaced by current vehicles. Once those current vehicles are replaced, he would then move them into the swing vehicles, and then a swing vehicle would get auctioned. And if that is the case, then those vehicles should not have a replacement cost. They should have a maintenance cost, but not the replacement. So I'm just wondering if you've gone through that process with all of the department heads, specifically him. He said he does not need these to be on replacement.
And as
So-
I develop this item, I see where you're coming from, and I could see that. But they do currently have a replacement in the budget, and that could easily be removed, $55,000.
Yeah, I would like to see that process happen with all of the department heads. And I'm sorry, but I would actually recommend that we table this and that a department head that would come up and just justify the reason why we now want to make this spare vehicle or ghost vehicle, whatever you want to call it, swing vehicle, why they want to make that now a vehicle that would be added to the fleet. And then at that time, we can add the current year replacement cost. Just off the top of my head, another good example is the city manager Chevy Tahoe is on there. That is a new vehicle to the city that we do need to replace at some point when it's reached its useful life. So I do believe it is correct to add the replacement cost for that one. But I think each one of these needs to be looked at individually with those department heads. I don't want to go in there and talk to them. I only talked to Brian because his definitely specifically said they were spare and they were swing vehicles. So that's why I chose to speak with him specifically. But I would like to see that process happen with all of the department heads before we add 445,000 or 400 and whatever thousand.
Okay, I believe Brian's is a simple solution. I think the other ones would be a little bit more complex, but yes, we could do that if that's what you're requesting.
So this doesn't have anything to do with going out forward and increasing the time before we replace vehicles?
No, as of our last budget adjustment, we pushed some vehicles from 15 to 16 and some vehicles from 7 to 8. So that's an official action that's already in the budget. That's not these vehicles. That could affect these vehicles, I guess, but that action's already been managed in the budget. This item is asking whether or not we even should have a replacement cost for it, I think, is really the question. Should they even be replaced, or should we continue to use auction vehicles to meet the need, or various? But we could have each one of these departments, I believe it would be most of the city. I'm looking at a lot of the golf course, landfill, police, maybe recreation, sewer, streets, utility manager, come up and justify the need for these pieces of equipment individually.
Well, your recommendation on this item is to continue with the current budget.
Correct. I mean, there's the police one. I will give her that as I was putting this together, I was like, we're always going to use auction vehicles for that. So I could take the police off. I believe every other vehicle here, though, has a legitimate use in the city. There's legitimate functions that have changed over time that requires these vehicles to happen. If you need to hear what that is, this would be a great opportunity. But there is legitimate use for all of these vehicles. There's none of them that just sit around or just because. I think these are all legitimate used vehicles that management has made the decision on without really clarifying it in the budget. So this would be a great opportunity to clarify.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, down below, Mayor, just a question to clarify. So I just want to be clear. It doesn't sound to me like we're questioning the operational usage, which would be my decision on behalf of the city, but we're trying to clarify if this ghost vehicle needs a replacement cost since it's already been replaced. Does that make sense? So I don't think we're questioning that we use it as the city, but if we're using it for a legitimate need in the city operation-wise, why are we still replacing a vehicle that's already been replaced? Am I following right, Councilmember Flores?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
pretty much what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, these were vehicles that were in use. We then said we did approve to have them replaced, but they were still in fair condition. And there was a use that they found in another area, which in some cases that's fine. For the swing vehicles, the police is a good example. they can basically shift those out. So now those swing vehicles will now go to auction, and the newer vehicles can go into swing. But they don't ever need to replace a swing vehicle with a brand-new vehicle, which it would be the only reason to then have a replacement cost.
Right. Thank you for the clarification. Just one thing further for the council and those listening here and maybe at home. I spoke with our fleet manager just to ask the question. Now, he really summarized it well for me. Reassigning some of these ghost vehicles, if you will, by delaying the auction process a year or two might cost the city a couple $1,000s because the vehicle reduces, depreciates, if you will. Whereas if we have an operational need for that and we come to the council, we're probably looking at $50,000 to $70,000. So as you consider this moving forward, just keep in mind, there is a savings to the city, but to your point, Councilmember Flores, I would like to clarify that as well for the replacement cost, so thank you.
Yeah, and I think too, while staff is looking at this, I think for them to consider, are these vehicles, can they then be replaced again once another current vehicle gets replaced? Can we then replace one of these on this list with that newer vehicle so that they're rotating out and that not necessarily needing to have a brand new vehicle and requiring that current year replacement cost?
Right, thank you.
And this just shows the smaller vehicles that we're calling vehicles. We don't have another list that involves our larger equipment and bigger ticket items.
This does have the larger vehicles on it. It's all mixed together. We don't typically do a lot of it with larger vehicles. It'll be a backhoe that gets given to a different department or a compressor. But yeah, most of it's small vehicles that get reused. But this is an all-inclusive list to the best of my knowledge. Of our 238 vehicles, these are the ones that you could call the ghost fleet.
Yeah, a compressor is a small vehicle to me. I'm talking about the big stuff Mr. Henry has out at the landfill.
So yeah, you'll see the articulating truck and the front loader. It was one of those questions where we currently have a piece of equipment. It's one piece of equipment that they don't make anymore. So management decided that we're going to create two vehicles that would meet the need of that one piece of equipment. So again, just clarifying what a ghost vehicle is, management made the decision that an articulated truck and a front loader would replace a scraper. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention that could be considered a ghost vehicle because we didn't really run anything through the budget. Short of, we're going to replace the scraper with those types of vehicles.
And to Troy's point, we'll probably end up keeping the scraper as well as a backup. So we will keep that on, but we won't ever replace it. It'll just be used. The backhoe on here is another good example of what Councilman Flores was talking about. We traded 2 old backhoes at the landfill for 1 new one. We decided to keep one of the old ones just to use in the animal pit and the places where we didn't want the new backhoe to have to go get beat up. So we did keep the best of the 2 up there. And then when we replace our new one, we'll probably bump it to that other use, like a swing vehicle, and get rid and upgrade. So that's kind of what the same use. And I get your point.
Anybody else?
So do I have a motion or an action that I can
It's an
take as
action
a?
item.
I made
This
a
is a
motion,
budget
or
item.
so I make a motion that we table this until we decide what, I don't believe this will affect our budget. You can still continue to move forward with it and as is, but knowing that this journal entry will look different when you actually process it in the system and the expenses will be lower than what we budgeted for.
Sure.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
A motion to table it
A motion to table it.
in a
Table it.
second, okay?
We had a motion and a second to table item number 16-2. All in favor? Opposed? It's tabled. Thank you. Thank you.
B, did you see that 7-0?
I just needed to know who seconded it. I couldn't hear or see movement.
Councilmember Brantner with the second? Yes?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Troy. Then we'll move on to item number 17, announcement of current events. Anybody?
Mayor, I'll be brief. I know it's late in the evening, and I want to read this just so I don't lose my place, so please indulge me. July 4th was amazing. I just wanted to make a couple of quick comments because we have not met since then. And there were a lot of wonderful things that happened in our community that day, from the morning breakfast to the parade, the events at the pool, the Thatcher splash pad to the concert and the fireworks display. It was an amazing day of celebration and collaboration. First off, happy birthday, America. And thank you to each of you on the dais for the roles that you played. But I especially want to say thank you to the city staff. The city employees that worked in front of and behind the scenes to make that day possible. One thing we tend to forget is when they come out on those holidays, that's a holiday they're taking away from their friends, their family, and spending it with us in our community, come out and celebrate together. And there were so many, so I don't want to go into each department because I'd probably miss one. That wouldn't bode well for me, but I just wanted them, those that are in the room, department heads, please continue to thank your teams. It was an amazing, very long day, but well worth it, and such a wonderful collaboration. The feedback I've received from other council members, other community leaders, other town and managers and county managers has been incredible. So kudos to our team, and thank you all for allowing us to do that. It was amazing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd just like to add, the only person that excludes is you. And I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
Hours and hours. Every place I went, you were there.
And likewise, and that wasn't a pitch for me to get a plug, but
No,
thank you.
no.
I appreciate
No, I
that.
realize, but yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
And the parade was a big success, if anything, and I relayed this to the manager. There was citizens that would like us to try to identify a spot so that the people that need more help to park have a closer place to park to the event, and it's easier for them to go and sit down, maybe a place that's designated for just them, so they can have access to it. And I've turned this over to it, but I wanted to let
Like
the
a
rest of you
handicap
know.
area?
Yes, handicap area. He's designated parking close and designated spot that they can set up, and they would be tickled.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Mayor, it's already in the works for the rest of the council, just so you know. And we're also looking at one other thing for the events we put on downtown. I don't want to put IT on the spot and mention it publicly, but it'll be great if we can pull it off, and I'm sure we can. Thank you.
And I don't always know
Mayor?
where, oh, he's coming on? Or not?
I am.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Vice Mayor. Mayor and council, I just wanted to give a reminder to everyone listening that we do have the primary election on Tuesday, the 21st. So please get out there and vote, and hopefully we can get the 3 seats filled and not have to go to the general election. And best of luck to the 3 that are up for election this year. So remember to vote on Tuesday.
We'll move on to item number 18, request for future agenda items. Anybody?
Well, I don't know if I got the other one in or not. The gentleman that spoke earlier, I thought was a current event. I would like staff, if they didn't pick up on it, to look into the complaints he had about the Connex boxes and his concerns. I'm sure you have all the notes on that.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, yes, I do, and I will write down his information as well and follow up just to make sure there's closure. Thank you.
And since we're on 18, Mayor, right? I'd like to see the flock cameras come back. There's certainly interest in it that people have addressed on here, and to bring it up for us to talk about it again and a little further. Because I believe that new things have come up that certainly should concern us.
Is there a way when we have that meeting, and this may be a Bill question, is there a way that we can have that an open dialogue? Because I know they get frustrated that we can't talk to them, and we get frustrated because we can't have open dialogue. I'd like to see something a little more open so that we can go back and forth. If they're bringing up something, can we question them on it to maybe understand a little bit more versus them just talking at the beginning of the meeting?
Mayor and Councilmember Brantner, I think you're correct. That is a Bill question.
Yeah.
Bill, if you're still there, is there a way to address that concern with call to the public and not violate any open meeting?
Yes, no.
rules?
As long as we put it on the agenda, we can have a discussion. And in fact, I'm having, the cities and towns I work with are all addressing this intensely, and it's better to do in the open. To the extent you want to pursue legal remedies, we could then go into e-session. But I'm not sure this is the time for legal remedies. This is the time to discuss possibly renegotiating or possibly terminating the agreement. To the extent you have legal questions about how you would terminate, we could do that in e-session, but all of the facts leading up to the decision to terminate could be done in the open.
Thank you, Bill.
And Mayor, Councilwoman Bratner, just to add to Bill's comment, we should be able to do it in like a work session, which kind of leaves the platform open for citizen comments as long as Mayor allows for the comments to be made during the actual agenda item and the discussion.
Well, a work session would not allow for action.
That's correct. There would be no action in a work session.
Okay, so we'll have to get our wording together as a council if they have input on that item coming back.
You would, at that work session, Mayor, Vice Mayor, you would just give direction to staff based on what the conversation comes out from that discussion. In a work session would just allow for there to be like public comment and discussion with the council during the public meeting.
Okay, because if we do work session and we can't do action, we can decide, but it would be another 2 weeks if action were to be taken.
Well, we
So it
could
could
put
be a
it.
month.
Mayor, Vice Mayor. Sorry, Mayor, Vice Mayor, if we believe there might be a need for an action item, I feel okay with adding an agenda item after the work session. Ultimately, if the action item does not need to be taken, then it can just be tabled or the item just dies and it does not come back. But we
We'll
can
have-
add an action item after the work session.
Okay, we'll have to give you some time to get your wording down.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Just wondering if we can say about how long we're looking at for this meeting, because I know it was pretty important tonight and they're probably listening. So do we know if it'll be the next meeting, the following meeting? Do we have any time frame?
Mayor and Council, I'd have to talk with Chief Avila, who's not present tonight. I couldn't answer that for you right now. I apologize without speaking to him.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. And we'll move on to item number 19.
Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? Opposed? We're adjourned.